Got Your Back Pod Stream is brought to you by Mr. Dirk. From casual wear to suits and formals, Mr. Dirk helps you find the perfect fit with the right look for any occasion. Step up your wardrobe at MrDirk.com. Oh, yes, the Bouch bomb caps off the barn burner in Denver. What a game. Oilers. The big come-from-behind win against the Colorado Avalanche. What's with all these comebacks? You got to love the comebacks, but at a certain point, I don't know, maybe stop getting down multiple goals in games. Been a weird trend for the Oilers lately. Nonetheless, they find a way once again. Thoroughly entertaining game. We're going to have a thoroughly entertaining show tonight, breaking it all down. Jason Strudwick is standing by. Rob Brown will be joining us, and Chris Sabunia is at the helm at the Growler Media World Headquarters in Kelowna. We're thrilled to have you along for the ride tonight here on Got Your Back. And as always, a show brought to you by our title sponsor, Play Alberta, where it is always game time. Bet on sports, find your new favorite slot, hit the tables, play on a virtual table with a live dealer. Grab your lottery tickets. Do it all safely with responsible gambling tools that help keep you safe. Deposit today. Get a $50 free bet with the code GYB01. That's GYB01. Visit playalberta.ca. Coming at you from our Adrenaline Diesel studio here in Sherwood Park. If you need a part manufactured, replicated, or repaired, Adrenaline Diesel has you covered with their brand new machine shop. Visit adrenalinediesel.ca. Saying good evening to the gentlemen, Chris Sabunia and Jason Strudwick. That was a fun game, boys. That was a fun game. How did you watch, Struds? Did you just chilling out at home? You have the kids, family gathered around, lots of people in the living room here tonight, lots of cheering and yelling. It was entertaining.
Sorry, hold guys. I didn't light my candle. I always have to light the candle before the show. So let me just light the candle. I'm sorry.
Okay, Zuby, you go.
Well, should we re-rack the show? I'll get the theme ready again.
Start again.
I hope I can regroup after that. Go ahead, Zoob. So I just lit it. I'm good to go.
I had it on here.
Can't you just subtly slip that in? Like, subtly slip that in during one of my ad reads or something? You have to, like, I got all this momentum. I do this intro. I brought, extra energy to the intro. I brought extra energy to the show. And you just like slam the thing to a halt because of your candle.
But the candle's important to me. That's important. And let's be honest, the Oilers didn't have the best start as far as at least the score tonight.
The tie-in.
But the candle's lit. The candle's lit. We're proceed. And so let's get it going again. Okay, let's start over again.
Yeah,
3, 2, 1.
You're down 2-0. Yeah, you're down 2-0, buddy. You better come back. What's going on, folks? Welcome to Got Your Back. Very zen Jason Strudwick joining us from his candlelit Adrenaline Diesel studio out in the south side of Edmonton. Struds, who'd you enjoy the game with tonight there? Zen fellow you?
Now I'm ready. I'm sorry. I apologize. Yes, you know what? I watched it at home. I actually thought it was a 6:30 game. So I was ready early and I set up and I'm like, what? 7:30? So I had extra time. So I actually went outside for a little bit with the dog. But anyways, that was an interesting game, and my boys watched it with me for the first period. And my oldest son said, you know what, we're not actually playing that bad. And I was like, I wrote that down. I'm like, you're right. They're not actually playing that bad. So it was 3-1, after the first. But I thought, you can see that there was something there if they could just hang around. And I think that, to be honest, the fourth goal of the game, whether it was by the Avs or the Oilers scoring their first one, was probably the tipping point either way for each group.
That was exciting, Zuby. What was going on in your household tonight?
I was helping out with bedtime during the first, so I kind of missed it. But I was following the score, getting the text updates from my mom actually. And when she said, I was thinking maybe I wasn't going to turn it on until she said, Arvidsson finally got one. So then I came back, I reviewed the goals, and then I picked it up and and it was just me down here in the theater room after bedtime was off of my plate and onto my wife's plate, and I enjoyed it. I don't get to, usually I'm doing lots of prep stuff for the show, but I had done that kind of earlier in the day. So I got to really watch the last two periods, and it was fun. I was into it. It felt like a playoff atmosphere of watching a game. I was into it.
Oilers have been in a couple of battles here recently that had kind of a playoff feel to it. I think that game against Los Angeles the other night somewhat qualifies the way this one was played here tonight. Anytime you get all these offensive juggernauts together for a game, you know it's going to be a lot of fun, and it did not disappoint. Although Oiler fan could not have been feeling good about 11 minutes into that game, down 3 Cobb, and Mackenzie Blackwood making a statement save. It felt like this is not going to be the Oilers' night. I'm sure fans felt that, but a mature team figured out a way to come back once again. Let's get to the breakdown brought to you by Alberta Ram Dealers. The 4x4 winter event is here. Get up to $11,200 in total discounts on a 2024 Ram 1500 DT Bighorn. And you can see them at your Alberta Ram dealer. Go see one locally in your area. This is a fantastic truck. Beautiful on the outside and in. Interior's fantastic as well. Go see your local Ram dealer today. So, getting down early. I mean, the Oilers have this habit recently, Struds. I think they went on a run. Wasn't it like 7 or 8 games where they scored the first goal of the game, or they were doing really well with that? And suddenly that part of their game has slipped out from underneath them. It's a good thing they're expert comeback machines right now, because they're sure getting themselves down in games, and they did tonight in a big, bad way.
Yeah, they did. And, you know, you're down 3-0. And then it's 3-1 after the first. But it wasn't like they were playing terribly. And I'm not going to put this all at the feet of the goaltender, because I think that's a bit unfair. But,
Sure.
you know, you look at the goals that were scored, you know, maybe the cut back through the middle. McKinnon's, I think that was his first goal. And maybe like to see a save there. But that's a smart shot, right? That's a really smart shot by a guy who can score goals. But they had given up 5 shots. It wasn't like it was 15 shots against. So they were actually in this game and playing pretty well. And I was looking for their legs. Were their legs there? I thought the legs were pretty good. You know, after a 2.5-hour flight, a long drive from the airport, or from the rink to the airport, and then a long drive from Denver airport into Denver last night, or early this morning, and they looked like they had their legs.
So no morning skate, so we didn't really know what the line combinations were going to look like until game time. What did you think when you saw he had put the big boys together to go power on power?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that they were when you're on the ice against McKinnon and company, you're like, hey, we want to control the play, because we don't want that guy shaking loose. Because when he did shake loose, he scored 2 goals. So you know, it's sometimes, and it's such a cheesy line, and I hate it, but sometimes the best defense is a good offense, right? And so they were in the offensive zone, and they weren't always against McKinnon, but when they're just in there, they're handling it, because they just, when that big line was out, they controlled tons in the play in the Av zone.
Yeah, they did. Looking at the analytics on this thing, like the possession metrics, McKinnon was on the ice at even strength for 10:51 against Draisaitl, 10:33 against McDavid, and was 37% of the shot share. The Oiler big guns, when they were out there against the Avalanche big guns, outside that first little run there where they got the lead, they did a really nice job power on power against that line. We'll get to more of that in a minute. Evan Bouchard's night. So it's a Bouch bomb that caps it all off, Struds. He's been in a goal-scoring drought. Has not been scoring at the pace that he's used to scoring in recent years. That had to feel good, uncorking one like that. But it had to feel particularly good, Struds, because of the way that Nathan McKinnon 3-0 goal went involving Evan Bouchard. Had to be a nice little piece of redemption for Bouchard there. First, what'd you make of the goal by McKinnon and then Bouch's winner?
Oh, I'm going to give a lot of credit here to Devin Taves, because he goes and picks the puck up just inside his own blue line, and he immediately turns up ice and is looking in the middle. And McKinnon knows exactly where to put himself to make an easy pass from Taves, and he's gone. And that's like a bull running downhill at you. He is so powerful and so quick. And Bouchard, that's for any D-man, that's an uncomfortable place to be in. And Bouch looked like he was, just, unprepared is the wrong word, but he was shocked that that's what was coming down at him. And he was looking down at the puck. You can see it. McKinnon just puts it in his feet and just skates through him. That was just an awful feeling for a D-man coming through. So I credit Taves and I credit McKinnon more than I'll place any blame on the shoulders of number 2.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. It's a world-class player with dynamite speed, insane power in his strides, and he's going to make a lot of defensemen look foolish from the start of the year to the end of the year. Mm-hmm. What I didn't like about Bouch, I thought you nailed it. He was looking down at the puck. Like, I don't know, Struds, are we totally past the days of if you stare a guy in the chest and just play his chest and don't get puck watching, you've got at least a chance to get in his way? If you're going to get walked by Nathan McKinnon, don't do it staring at your feet and at the puck. That is my complaint about that play. Just stare at the chest. You might not get him. He might still slip you, but don't get blown by staring at your feet and the puck. That, to me, is an annoyingly bad look.
It is. And that's not how you want to play a one-on-one, right? Obviously you want to try to just, on a player like that, if possible, try to match his speed, which it's pretty hard, but make him skate through your chest to get through the net. That would be my advice on anyone you're playing who's really fast. Yeah. Make him skate through your chest. So just stay in his way. Even if you can just push him slightly to the outside. So now maybe he has to drive you wide. We saw Hyman do that later in the game. He got around the but drove him wide, and a goalie'd rather try to take a wide drive rather than a straight on breakaway on a guy who's absolutely flying at you downhill.
Okay, so we've made our point about Bouchard there, but he deserves a ton of credit here because in a big moment, and the goals haven't been going in for him, Struds, he gets that thing on his stick, and it's a no mistaker. He just wires it. The offensive instincts on this player, for all the talk we do about struggles in his defensive zone at times, I mean, it is so worth it for this player because he can do in the offensive zone what not a lot of other defensemen can do with his instincts, and in particular with that shot.
So his superpower is his offense. And when that offense to him doesn't feel like it's cooking, as the kids would say, you lose confidence. And so his confidence comes through his offense. That's where it comes from. So that was a really important, I think, for him tonight to get that goal. Really important. And in a big moment, in a big game, and you could tell by his reaction. Don't listen to me. Go back and watch his reaction. He was jacked. He looked like a 10-year-old kid who scored the game winner, in a tournament in Estevan, Saskatchewan. He was really, really excited. So I love that. I love that moment by him. And you need him confident, right? You need this player confident offensively because I think his defensive game is tighter and stronger when he feels that way.
5 shots on net, 8 attempts, and a massive goal from Evan Bouchard. So the Oilers are down 3-0 in that game. And as I said, Blackwood made that one save because you're thinking, okay, they got to get something going here. They're in trouble. Yeah. And Blackwood made a fantastic save on Leon Draisaitl. And you're like, okay, this is not Georgie V. Now they've got a goalie. Oh, boy. But the Oilers stuck with it. And that 3-1 goal, Struds, that was such a monstrous goal. The difference between going to the locker room down 3-0 and 3-1 with a chip in a chair and 40 minutes left. That new look second line comes through again.
Paul Colton could have scored. He hit the post, right? I don't know if that was the second shift of the game, third shift, whatever it was, hits the post. That could have changed the tenor of the way this game had played out. But you're right. That group there, I really feel like Arvidsson and Paul Colton get each other. There's an understanding. Last night I made a note down on my paper there that those two look like they have a lot of chemistry together, and they do. They want to play a similar type game. Now the goal that was scored, that was not a goal scorer's goal. That was someone getting the puck to the net. The D-man tries to poke it off his stick, poke off Arvidsson's stick, and it slows down the release or speeds it up. Slows it down. And then the goalie isn't able to react properly, and kind of a knuckler gets by him. But huge moment because you walk into that room 3-0, you're like, ooh, that's a long way back. But 3-1, we're like, guys, We've probably could have scored 2 other goals. It could be tied. Just stay with it. We've got lots of game left. Lots of game left. That's exactly what those guys would have been saying in that dressing room.
Yeah, couple of big games here from that second line with Nugent Hopkins in the middle, and that was a really big goal. So in the second period, like Brett Kulak, there was a tiny little dip in his play a couple of games ago, but other than that, he's been really, really solid. And so you go into that second period, and there was a really nice sequence of a few minutes there, Struds, where, Kulak scores the goal and then, tying his career high in goals, and then ends up drawing a penalty, negating a Colorado power play. Those 2 contributions from Kulak on a night like tonight is big-time stuff.
The game for him tonight is it's built for him. Speed all over the ice. There was so much speed in that game. It was just quick and high paced. And I talked about maybe Brown coming out and putting Stetcher in, and that's what you want to do. You want to get your pace up high. So he's not only fast, Shaugger, he's also strong. He's not a fast, small player. He's a big, strong guy. When you see him walking around, he's a thick human. So he's really well suited to handle some of those bigger guys over there that can skate. Mikko Rantanen isn't the fastest guy, pretty quick, but he's strong. McKinnon, we already know how fast he is. Even a guy like Drouin, those guys get around the ice. The D-men move quick. So he's tailor-made for that type of game where there are big players that can skate, because he's one of those as well.
Shane Matheson says that was playoff Kulak tonight. Definitely agree. In a game with high-octane skater, Struds, the guy just functions so well. He's so smooth. He's so fast. Forwards, backwards. He can skate in a series built for skaters. And having a guy that can eat the kind of minutes that it looks like he can eat in a second pairing is just so crucial. And we've seen it a couple years in a row in the postseason. Let's get to the Weiss Johnson soundbox. Actually, let's hear from Brett Kulak. If it is time for a new furnace, garage heater, or hot water tank, Weiss Johnson is here for all your home comfort needs, specializing in servicing your existing systems, or they can install new ones for you. Visit weiss-johnson.com today. Been craving the jingle all day.
Weiss Johnson, whoa.
All right, Brett Kulak post-game talking about the comebacks.
They're a good team, so you got to be ready to play for sure. And then just, anytime the pucks are going in for you, it's good. So to go 2 for 2 on the season here, I'm hoping we meet them again in the playoffs for sure.
How do you describe the start you guys had and then everything after that 12-minute mark?
Yeah, it was nice. So we just kept our composure. Like, we liked the way we were playing. Obviously, they were putting pucks in the net, which, that's going to happen when they're a good team. And we just bounced back, and we knew luckily we had lots of game left to come back and even it up. It was just kind of at that point, it's like don't give up anymore. So I want to get more pucks on net, and pucks started going in for us.
Evan Bouchard.
The resiliency, it's not something that we necessarily want to be behind, but found a way to come back, and we're confident in our group when we are behind to contribute offensively and come back.
What are you most proud of in this group, in your ability to never really die in any battle?
Yeah, I guess we didn't quit. Like I said, we know what we have. We know we can score goals, especially in a game like that on a back-to-back. It's going to be a tough game for us, and we stuck with it and paid off.
All right, and finally, let's hear from the head coach.
They just don't get rattled, which is nice to see, and I think a lot of that has to do with the experience of a lot of these guys have been together for a long time, but also the last year's playoff, and there's stressful times, and I don't know, a lot of confidence in that group that if they play their system and they don't cheat the game, because I think when they cheat the game, they're not as effective, and you're probably just giving up more. So they stuck with it, which was nice.
Okay, Strud. So while they were trying to mount a comeback, the power play, a little stagnant. Maybe not what you want to see. You're really thinking in a game like this, if they're going to be able to come back, they're going to need that power play. But if anything, it maybe got in their way a little bit. But Draisaitl and McDavid, that line, they push, and that 3-3 goal, the tail end of an incredible shift from that line.
Yeah, and just a comment about the power play. There's no doubt that it was. I give Colorado credit. They were putting quite a bit of pressure on the Oilers, and they've got some pretty mobile players as well that they can get it done. I personally would have liked to have seen it was hard because there wasn't really a stoppage, but get the second unit out there. Just change the look, right? Just change the look, get some fresh legs out there, try something different. But yeah, the third goal, I mean, that's just a huge goal. It's a huge play at that time of the game. The puck, it goes to the net and Connor's right there to pick it up and just tap it in. He was so calm about it. Just threw it over the goalie, right? Just threw it over. And that's what those guys get the big bucks for. And that's the separator many nights for the Oilers versus other teams. Those guys can control, and they'll find a way to get it done and to score a big goal like that. But the other separator for this group is that you look around who scored the other goals, right? You got Brett Kulak and Arvidsson that started it. So, we can sit here and talk about, well, they haven't scored a lot on the wings. Well, there's D-men scoring. Arvidsson scored now. He hasn't played every game. Puck Colton could have had another one tonight. Bouchard scored another one. So it's not just those guys. They're a huge part of it, but other guys are scoring, which is really important for this group.
Yeah, great point. And lots of contributions offensively from the blue line this year. That's really been an interesting story. You got Kulak with a career high here, and the blue line has been chipping in. So it's 3-3, and the game is on the line, and the Avs pull the goalie, and they're going to just bring the house, and they did. All kinds of pressure in the offensive zone, Struds. Skinner could have been super pumped about, was it three goals and 5 shots or something to start the game? And he locked it down from there on out. But that last couple of minutes, staring down, and he got some help from a couple of posts, like we know that. But staring down Nate McKinnon, like Skinner, again, was clutch and did his job.
Yeah, McKinnon sets up to the right of the netminder, and he's shooting far side shelf. Like that's the shot he wants. And he rings the post. Like everyone heard it. Like it was crazy. So he's been through these situations at way higher pressures than this game today. Like this was a fun game to beat, but it's not Game 7. It's not various series he's been through. So he's been through there, and he knows he just has to try to make the next save. Just give my team a chance to give him to make the next save. So these are this is the type of emotional level that these guys can get to, and Skinner specifically, as far as being organized and understanding in the moment not being too big for them. 3-4 years ago might have been too big. Tonight, he just figured it out, got those saves. I would like to have seen a little bit tighter play from the Oilers. It seemed like they'd get the puck and they would, like Connor, specifically, not to highlight his one bad play of the game, but he gets it and kind of just mishandles it, fumbles it, it goes up the wall. I think he was trying to look to hit into the middle where there were two guys screaming through. And he's usually so sure-handed, but that's just the difference, right? You get it, tap it to the middle, tap it up to the next guy. Now we're gone on a rush, and maybe there's an empty net goal, which is something the Oilers don't do often.
Okay, Rob Brown's going to be checking in here in a couple of minutes. Starting over at 61, the last 2 minutes helped me achieve a new high score on my blood pressure monitor. Yeah, I imagine Oilers fan was feeling it. Let's get to our Relentless Player of the Night, brought to you by UCAN Youth Services, an Edmonton charity that is relentless in providing possibility for the youth in our community. Mental health is the foundation for growth and success and the key to thriving, not just surviving, with 2 in-house counselors providing free therapy sessions. UCAN's youth have lots of support while they navigate their struggles and rediscover their strength. Visit ucan.ca to donate today. Got Your Back is a proud monthly donor at UCAN Youth Services, and if you can, please do the same. Struds, lots of people to choose from tonight. I'm intrigued as to which way you're going to go with this one tonight, bud.
And that's the problem, man. That's the problem. There's so many people. I have various people written down here, but so you're going to call this a cop-out. I know this you're going to say, but I'm going to give it for the first time ever to the entire team. The entire team, they were relentless because I knew it. I don't want to hear it. They were down 3-0. And how do you pick a line? How do you pick a player? That makes a difference in this game and finds a way. So I'm going to go with the entire team as like a pat on the back, 2 claps and a woo, for the entire team today. Who would you have picked? Who would you have gone on the ladder?
Way to go, Oilers team. Okay, if I had to pick someone, if I were in your shoes and I knew that it was my responsibility as a co-host of the show to point out one specific player, and to say something meaningful or different, or to make it a little bit, something. What would I have done tonight? Honestly, I might have gone a little off the beaten path. I thought Vasily Podkolzin was excellent tonight.
Yeah.
We're going to save that. We're going to talk about that in our next segment, because I saw something tonight from two players that I want to talk about. But Struds, if you just want to run down the bench and give everyone a big old high five courtesy, you can. Yeah. We'll take that tonight. That's
group hug.
Player.
Group hug.
2 claps and a yeehaw for the entire Oiler team. Zuby, why don't we get the poll going, buddy? Brought to you by our good friends over at DeBoer's Golf Shop and Fitting Center. Are you fired up for the upcoming golf season? New 2025 equipment has arrived. Ping, Callaway, tailor-made. Get ahead of the fitting rush. Schedule your appointment today, located at 5311 99th Street in Edmonton. Had a great chat with Scotty over at DeBoer's today. He's excited. He was a little bit concerned, guys. He was doing a wellness check on me because he listened to the show yesterday and the way you guys piled on to me for the electric cart that he sold me, that our sponsor sold me, and we spent 7 minutes trashing his product, was not ideal. I had some damage control to do, and he was checking in on me.
Does he use one?
No. He would never. He would never.
That's
young, healthy man. Hi, Zuby.
Hey, how's it going?
Oh, it's been better. Thanks. What do we got for a poll today, buddy?
Okay, playing off the excitement that we saw out there tonight, I wanted to know which Western Conference opponent would the viewer be most excited to watch the Oilers play 7 games against this spring.
Gotta say Avs. Now, do you mean excited as in like, yay, there's a chance to win, or yay, this is going to be great hockey?
No, I think
whichever way it goes, it goes.
For entertainment value, rivalry, fan involvement, whatever you want to put it as. And in fact, the fourth choice is other, and a few people have said I picked other because I don't want them to go to any Game 7s. So there's more than one way to look at it here. So the options that I chose were the Las Vegas Golden Knights, the Colorado Avalanche, the Winnipeg Jets. I put in there, top team, Canadian market. So I put them as the third team, and then I put other, and there's been a number of write-in votes for other as well, although it's still trailing behind. So people excited, I think, about the 3 teams I suggested, but there's been some Vancouver write-ins, some LA, some Dallas, and there was one other good one that I thought. Anyway, we can get to those later on too, but those are kind of some of the teams that have come up in other, but it's pretty spread out right now, believe it or not, of those 3 teams.
All right. What's your answer as the voice of the Oiler fan on this show? You're the voice of the diehard Oiler fan.
Yeah. Do I have to give one? I'd love the Winnipeg thing, because that would be I guess basically that would have to be the conference final. Same as Colorado, I suppose. So I don't know. I think Winnipeg would be a ton of fun. Although I think that's because of maybe the goaltending matchup, that's a tough one for the Oilers. Yeah. But the goaltending matchup against Dallas was supposed to be not in the Oilers' favor last year either, and they got that done in 6. Yeah. So,
very good.
But I mean, tonight was great. So much speed. If you like speed, Colorado's the choice, I think.
Edmonton doesn't want to face Winnipeg early, which thank God we shouldn't have to. Vancouver or Calgary first round is what we want. Kings and Vegas can go 7 games and grind it out first, says Paulie. By the way, Zuby, sound the alarm. We have what appears to be a new listener from a long way away. Istanbul Bry chiming in. 9 a.m. in Istanbul, a rare live chat. Now, I believe that emoji, correct me if I'm wrong, Zuby, is that a latte or is that a beer, that emoji? If it's a beer, 2 claps and a yeehaw for you too there, Istanbul Bry, for the 9 a.m. beer.
That is a beer,
that you got going on there. That is a beer. Love it.
That is a
Welcome,
beer.
To Got Your Back.
Also, shout out to Kevin Bentoro. What a win for a Friday here in Sydney, Australia. So we got a few people going in the morning here.
Don't do it, Struds. Don't do it.
Yeah, I haven't warmed up properly. For that
the organ is not warmed up. All right, that was a breakdown Brought to you by Alberta Ram Dealers. Still tons more ahead. There's two players that I want to say something about. I will say that thing to all of you coming up in the next segment. Brownie's going to join us as well. We're going to have Brownie Points. We're going to have Struddy's World. We're going to have Ask Us Anything. We're going to have Take a Lap, our core Blue Liners. We've got an In the System report. Ooh. Ryan Reed is going to stop by, let you know what's going on with Baco and some of the young prospects. We got an absolutely popping live stream going tonight. We got lots of show left, so stay with us here on Got Your Back, presented by Play Alberta.
At Gallery Dental, we believe in blending exceptional care with artistry to create the perfect smile for you. From routine cleanings to advanced cosmetic procedures, our team is dedicated to providing top-notch care in a relaxed and comfortable environment. With state-of-the-art technology and a passion for perfection, we ensure that every visit is a positive experience. Join the Gallery Dental family and let us help you achieve a smile that you'll love to show off. Contact us today at secolandentistry.com.
With over 18 years in the industry, Kelly Zaretsky and her team at Blue Summit Accounting deliver client-focused solutions and financial guidance for success in a simple and comfortable way. Whether it's for corporate or personal needs, Blue Summit Accounting can help with taxes, estate planning, financial services, bookkeeping, and more. Get in touch today. Email bluesummitacct@gmail.com or call 780-416-9662.
Braun Solo says, thank you for not doing it, Struds. Not a fan of Struds. Aussie accent. I love that. Hank809 says, Sherwood Park native in Nagano, Japan. Wow, Hank. Thanks for joining. What time is it in Nagano? Hank, let us know. We appreciate
He said
he's
having his 3 p.m. beer, he said.
Right.
Oh, there you go. Avi Hoffman says, so glad I found this channel last season during the Canucks series. We're glad to have you, Avi. Thank you so much. As I said, just a great number here on the live stream tonight after a great hockey game. Time now for takeaways, brought to you by Martin Motorsports, announcing the addition of Harris Pontoons to their lineup of boats. Harris offers a large selection of premium quality pontoons, 6 models to pick from, ranging from the simple essentials to ultra luxury. There's a perfect one for you. Start your journey to the water with Martin Motorsports and a Harris pontoon. Visit them in Calgary, Edmonton, Kelowna, and in Saskatoon. I want to shine a light. I'm going to shine a little light here, Struds, on 2 Oiler players. Because on a night where Oiler fans, I'm sure, are looking at the other scores around the league and such, they got Ryan McLeod with the Hattie the other night. They got Dylan Holloway with another big night tonight. By the way, he's on pace for like 60-some points. Lots of feelings for Oiler fans out there night after night on the scoreboard. But I'm here to tell you, Struds, after the LA game and after this game here tonight, Ty Emberson, Vasily Podkolzin, these guys are gamers. I cannot wait to see them in playoff hockey. I believe they're tailor-made for it, and I believe they're going to be able to hang in, and I think they're going to bring it in a big way. You can't be this consistent, this deep into a season, that good in big games like this, and then wilt at playoff time. The Oilers went out and salvaged this situation by getting a couple of gamers, and tonight, to me, was a real good indication of what they have in these two.
I love that. That's a really well thought out point. And these guys, 2 massive question marks coming into the season. And quite honestly, both you're kind of at the start, you're like, oh man, what's going on here? But they've brought them along.
Some of us wondered if Podkolzin might be a top 6 forward, but some of us, I think, might have mentioned that in preseason. But anyway,
what they've done here is they've developed these players in season and brought them along in season. And I hate to say this, but the way Emberson's playing, you're not really missing Cody Ceci, right? The exchange for the money, let's call it, what was Cody? Was he 3.5 or 3?
Yeah,
2.7.
3.25 maybe.
Yeah. So, and this, I don't want to turn this into a bashing Ceci. That's not it. But when you look at the difference in the money and the way that Ty is playing, and he's on the number 1 penalty kill unit, that's a pretty good trade-off. I'll save that $2 million to have that happen. So I like that move. And then Podkolzin, you got him from your rival, one of your biggest rivals, and this guy's turned into a second line player for you. And even without Leon, he still is creating and getting chances as he had today. So I think that these two guys have really helped bring what the Oilers need, is a little bit of youth into their lineup, and they need to do this more often. I know not to look too far ahead, but in the offseason, they got to keep trying to find a way to get some younger players that are ready now.
I'm going to give you a little bit of credit here, and I'm going to give Knobloch a bunch of credit here because, we talked in the preseason, we talked at training camp about Ty Emerson. What's he going to be? Everybody saw the trade, him for Cece. Everybody knew what the Oilers' biggest need was. On everybody's whiteboard, it was Nurse Emerson, Nurse Emerson, Nurse Emerson. Let's see what it looks like. Barely played together in camp, although Nurse wasn't around. And then didn't really start out together. And Struds, you absolutely nailed it when you said very early on in the season, enough with Ty Emerson being put on the second pairing and kind of failing, and then getting ripped out of the lineup. This player needs to play every single night, and he needs to play on the third pairing to get his bearings. And I think that Chris Knobloch was onto that really, really early. You certainly were. Handling that player in that way, you talk about developing in season, that's exactly what that is. That decision right there. Despite what the world wanted him to be, they saw him for what he was, and they developed him as such.
Doesn't mean he can't move up at some point.
Yeah.
But to slide him in to a Stanley Cup hopeful fourth guy in the lineup is like, that's crazy. And you came from San Jose, which was just a bottom feeder. So park the analytics and just think about that for a sec. Not you, but just people who believe. Just look at what he was and where he was and what he can be. So put him somewhere where he can have success and play against different players. And then you pop him into the penalty kill. He feels good about himself. Maybe he can work up there. Maybe he can do it in time. And there's talks about maybe an extension here, which I think makes a lot of sense for both sides. But it's important to understand what players can do and to give them a chance to do it rather than trying to bury them somewhere where they can't handle it. So these are two huge guys, Shaugger, two huge guys for this team.
Yeah.
Found
very different strategy with Podkolzin in that here you have a bottom six forward who is, not a lot of competition for that spot on Leon's left side, right? It didn't work out with Skinner. We all saw that. Kane's hurt. But a bottom six forward that they bring in that they kind of go the other way with Struds, and they play him, they plug him into the top six, like kind of square peg, round hole type thing. And everybody was sort of like, what? Like, really? What? And the offense didn't come, and the offense didn't come, and the offense didn't come, and the offense didn't come. But you know what did come? Glowing reviews from 97 and 29 when there was no offense, but glowing reviews from those two. And the head coach stuck with him. And now those dividends are paying. So it was like with one guy, you read the situation and you drop him down. The other guy, you read the situation, you bump him up. And despite what the numbers tell you, production-wise, you just grind with him there and you stick with it. That's coaching touch right there on both those instances.
So a little bit different Paul Colton. I reached out to some friends in Vancouver, and what they said this guy needed was for people to feel like he was being believed in to help his confidence. So when you place him beside Leon Draisaitl, and I don't know what the conversation was, but I'm guessing it wasn't like you get 2 periods, kid. Like they're going to give you a chance here, and they've stuck with him. And they've rewarded. He's rewarded them with it, and I just have to believe that Leon's had something to do with it. I can't believe that he wasn't like, I think there's something here. And the same thing with Arvidsson's on the other side. So it's probably not the line we envision for Connor or for Leon, but it's maybe the line that he likes playing on. Right? Maybe that's he seems happy. Seems really happy out there,
buddy. I'm telling you, someone came at me on Twitter the other day or something like that. I can't remember where it was, saying you're giving Podkolzin all this credit for doing the same things that Puljujarvi did when he was given opportunity in the top 6. We're not going to turn this into a Puljujarvi bashing session. But this is the thing. I don't recall Leon Draisaitl outside of like, when Nugent Hopkins was on the line, anytime he's played with McDavid, but in terms of consistent line mates, I don't know that Leon Draisaitl has ever had a line mate that they have tried in this spot who consistently makes better, more efficient plays in the offensive zone, keeps pucks alive, and makes good plays with them, regardless of whether they finish or not. I'm thinking Yamamoto and his stretch of time there. I'm thinking, Puljujarvi, his stretch of time there. I'm thinking there have been a bunch of different players that have been platooned in and out of there. Podkolzin is doing as good a job as anybody has ever done of making plays in the offensive zone to get the puck to 29. No wonder the guy loves him.
Yeah. So the problem with Puljujarvi, who wasn't able to make those plays, the problem with Yamamoto is he was too small, and he couldn't handle the physicality of playing on that line. And now both are fringe players in the NHL. So this guy has the combination of both that's required to be beside him. Now, if he can find a way to, what's he at, 6 or 7 goals? Could have had another one tonight. If he can get to 15 to 20 goals, I don't know if that's going to happen this year, but moving forward, there's probably something there for him.
Yeah. Zuby, give Noel Rinsky a little love there with his comment. He is beating a drum and he wants to be heard. He's a regular on the show, so we will let him be heard. I will repeat, on a team that is a cup favorite and right at the top of the league standings, Podkolzin is third in even strength points. Noel Rinsky reminding everybody about Podkolzin's even strength production. Okay, let's move on to a couple of other quick elements here to wrap up this segment. So Jeff Skinner draws back into the lineup, and he did get some looks late in the third period, Struds. He never got buried, never got stapled to the bench. It was only 9 minutes, but in a game that they were trying to come back in, you're not going to play your fourth line a lot, but he did get a look late. What did you think?
Yeah, it's 9 minutes, and I don't know, honestly, Shaugger, I don't know how to say it
What was that
differently, but
noise?
I've already said it. So it's 9 minutes, and so he's out there, he's doing what he can, and I don't think that a player like him can really function on 9 minutes. I thought his effort was there. Like I never knocked the effort. I don't the try. He has the skill. It's just in 9 minutes, it's hard to get the beak. Really hard to get the beak wet in 9 minutes of action.
Yeah. Oh, there's Brownie. Look at him trying to figure out which way to turn his computer. How you doing, buddy?
Yes, I'm doing very, very good. It's a good night to be an Oiler fan, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. Now, is that a new microphone? Where did you get this?
I got this from 880 Ched. This is my setup for
you've stolen
for Ched,
equipment.
so.
Okay.
Yeah, the stuff that my GYB guy gave me, it doesn't work apparently. So I had to borrow it from my other job. So we'll see if this is any better.
Do they have any lights over there by chance that might make you look not like a cadaver?
That's how I look. You're getting what I am. I don't know. Is that better?
He's gone. No, you're fine. You're good, buddy. You sound great, and we're stoked to have you. Okay, Brownie, let's just get a couple of quick headline thoughts from you, and then we're going to push forward into our next segment because we're a good 40 minutes into the pod here already. You're a little bit late. Bryn was hogging you tonight. So, for you, what is the number one thing at the top of the list for you that you think needs to be said?
Oilers depth. I thought the Oilers depth was very good tonight. I think there's more questions looking at Colorado with their depth players than there is looking at the Edmonton Oilers. I think goaltending. Mackenzie Blackwood, excellent in this game, but our goalie Stuart Skinner was better. Made one more big save. So the question marks that the Oilers had at the beginning of the season, I think a lot of them have been answered here over this last 24, 25 games.
Yeah, 100%. What do you make of the fact they keep getting down in games and keep digging holes? They're able to pull themselves out of it, Brownie, and there's something to be said for that. But to go down 3-0 in this game and dig their way out was something.
Yeah, but it was a weird 3-0 because they weren't getting outplayed. There was a long shot from McKinnon. There was a play, the goal, the first one by O'Connor, it should have been a hook. Nugent Hopkins got hooked. The ref missed it, and O'Connor comes out from the corner. and Blackwood made about 4 or 5 big saves. I thought the Oilers, the goal that they scored, Arvidsson's goal was huge because it gave them something to rally around. But I just think that they were just unfortunate. I think it was just unfortunate because the first period should not have been a 3-1 lead for Colorado by the way both teams played.
Yeah, I agree with that. Tough penalty there for Philp. Struds, we haven't dealt with that yet. That's going to be a tough one. A tough night in the face-off circle for him. It's going to take some – I like the fact that Knobloch is trying here, but it's going to take him a little bit of time. This is still a guy with not a lot of NHL experience. This was a big stage tonight. I think patience are required. How much patience do you think they will have here, Struds?
Well, I'd say let's go the Four Nations, right? Take him into there, right? What have you got to lose? We've seen it from Emerson and Paul Colden, and he's older than both of those players. I think, I think he is older than both those guys. You need to play these guys and get them in there and try to make them feel comfortable and feel valued to develop these guys on the fly. Because they need to figure out if how far they can take him this year, Brownie.
Well, I agree. It's not like you're giving him a test drive with Connor and Leon. I mean, he's on the fourth line. The Oilers' wins or losses aren't going to be based on how Noah Philp does on the fourth line. Fourth line scored a goal for them tonight. So I hated when a guy got called up from the minors, played 6 minutes. He did nothing. We're going to send him back down. Or we gave him 2 games. We got 6 minutes one, 8 minutes the next. Hey, I showed you he can do nothing. Give him an opportunity. Show what he can do. Each game he gained confidence as a hockey player. 5 games from now, he's going to be better than he was tonight. And 8 games, 10 games from now, you'll find out whether he's good enough to be on this team come playoff time.
We haven't given the Oilers enough credit for their results here in a crazy scheduling time. Like, this is nuts. The number of time zones, the number of cities, the number of games, this road trip, home for 1 game, back out on the road, some pretty good competition along the way. This has been a real good run. Much needed day off for the team tomorrow, and then they'll finish up this road trip Saturday against the Vancouver Canucks, and that will be a fun one. All right, that was our takeaway segment brought to you by Martin Motorsports. Quick break. When we come back, we'll go Brownie Points, we'll go Struddy's World, we'll go Ask Us Anything. Maybe Brownie will stick around for our Taking a Lap segment as well. Still tons ahead, and we got a great number on the stream. We're thrilled that you're along for the ride, and lots more still ahead here on Got Your Back.
Ready to go all in this season? Mr. Dirk's got you covered with express on-site tailoring, a wide selection of craftsman-made suits, sport coats, and casual staples for every occasion. Score big with Mr. Dirk. We've always got your back. Visit us off White Ave, south of 102nd Street, or browse online at mrdirk.com.
So at Timberhouse, our guiding philosophy is naturally inspired living. We believe that through design, we can solve problems and enhance people's lives. We follow biophilic design principles in all of our builds to incorporate natural materials, natural light, to enhance all the spaces in a home. When you have your space perfectly reflect who you are and what you value, and it's made well, we think that that just leads to better living.
No, let's go Brownie Points first. I'm looking for it. I'm looking for it. Like it's in a different page or something. There it is. Hamel's Premium Jerky. Going to bring us Brownie Points tonight. Using prime Alberta beef, their jerky is available in 13 tantalizing flavors, including the famous sweet and spicy. Free shipping Alberta-wide for the month of January on all orders over $55. Hop on to albertajerky.com to order yours. If you use the code GOTYOURBACK, you'll get an additional 10% off. Family owned and operated since 1962. Gotta love a great local company up there in Cold Lake and servicing all of Alberta for your jerky and meat needs. Okay, Brownie, what do you got for points tonight?
Well, let's start with 22 for Evan Bouchard. Evan Bouchard had 1 goal in his last 22 hockey games, and then in the first period gets absolutely walked by one of the best in the world, in Nathan McKinnon. And you're like, uh-oh, is this what kind of night are we going to have for Evan? Because we've seen nights go sideways for him. Instead, he comes up with what we have been expecting. Big goal at a big moment. And that was an absolute bomb to win the hockey game. So tonight you saw what you get with Evan Bouchard. There's some highs and there's some lows. But at the end of the night, there was a big smile on his face, and the Edmonton Oilers get a game-winning goal from him. I have 4 brownie points for the Edmonton Oilers' fourth line. Again, depth players. In Minnesota, the second line scored 2 goals tonight. That was a great shift by Perry, by Skinner, by Philp. They keep the puck in, and then on the goal, you got a 50-goal scorer in the National Hockey League, former MVP. He knows what to do, stand in front of the net. Corey Perry right to the front of the net. Mackenzie Blackwood has no idea where that puck's coming, so great goal by the fourth line. I have 179 brownie points for Alexander Ovechkin. The grade 8 scored tonight in overtime. 1-0 game. He scores the only goal in the game, and it set a record. That was the 179th different goaltender that Alex Ovechkin has scored against in his career.
Wow.
I don't know who he beat or if he's just adding to his record, but an unbelievable career for Alex Ovechkin. I now believe is he 20 or 21 points away from a record that we thought would never be broken. I've got 80 brownie points for Todd McClellan. He's got the new Detroit Red Wing team has 8-2 since he's taken over. They won 80% of the hockey games. He has got them in the playoff picture now. The Detroit Red Wings were dead at Christmas time. Todd McClellan goes in there, uses some tough love. There's been a couple interviews where he's been brutally honest about his players, but he's got them playing very, very well. And the last one, I got 90 brownie points for Mr. Baseball, Bob Uecker, who passed away today. Rest in peace, Mr. Baseball. I can watch Major League over and over and over again just to listen to Bob Uecker do the play-by-play up top. So he was 90 years old, Bob Uecker. He was one of my favorites.
100%. And I believe Shaugger. He is the topic of, and that's brownie points. Thank you, Brownie. Sorry to interrupt you.
Thank you.
That's Struddy's World tonight, I think, too, right, Struddy?
Oh, yeah. That's for sure. Mr. Baseball.
Okay. Well, you know what? Let's dive right into it, and then I'll let you two talk some baseball stuff because you'll probably leave me behind on that. But that was Brownie Points brought to you by Hamel's Premium Jerky. Zuby, roll the intro for Struddy's special segment, please, and thank you.
When you make a mistake, heads should roll. It's not right. And I'm here. Someone has to put their foot down. Now that I say it out loud, it does sound a little crazy. Gotta look good.
Yes, it is time for Struddy's World, brought to you by DLR Vinyl Products. They got locations in Calgary and Edmonton. If you're a contracting business or a contractor, let DLR help you add vinyl fence to your product line. Reliable, unmatched service, high-quality North American-made products. Visit dlrvinylproducts.ca. Struddy?
Bob Uecker. I remember the first time he kind of crossed into my thought processes with Major League, and he was the announcer for that team, and just a little outside. Like I was like, who the hell is this guy? And I looked him up, and I kind of got to know what he's all about, and I've kind of followed his career from a distance. And when I was able to jump into the media, I wanted to be a little bit like him. I could never be close to him, but like him as far as entertaining, kind of funny, maybe a little unpredictable with the things you say. And, he was really someone I admired from a long distance. Obviously, I never met him. I'm not watching a lot of Milwaukee Brewers games, if I'm being honest. But I've looked at some of his clips, his induction speech into the Baseball Hall of Fame. It is the greatest of all time, of any sport. The greatest. If you haven't seen it, go and check it out on YouTube. I've watched that thing 100 times. It's so great. But, we lost a true personality today. I think he lived a fun life, I'm guessing. I think he was quite the character to be around. His teammates loved him. And, I'll miss just what he did and how he brought it and how he performed as an actor. Quite frankly, I think he was an actor when he was on stage here, calling games for everyone and being entertaining.
Yeah, I think the big thing, it was entertaining. I remember, I mean, as a kid, I remember watching, maybe it wasn't quite a kid, Mr. Belvedere. He was on that too. I
Yeah.
remember watching him on that. But Major League, if you haven't seen Major League, you got to watch it just to listen to him up in the stand. Like he makes that movie. I mean, he seriously makes that movie. So we obviously every year we lose some very important people, very famous people, and some touch you more than others. But when they said that came across my ticker today, Bob Uecker, I'm like, oh, you just smile because he's one of those guys that every time you heard him talk, you left in a better mood.
So he was on Tonight Show over 100 times. He hosted Saturday Night Live. He hosted his own show. He was on things like Brownie talked about, was a sports broadcaster after his career. I think he played like 5-6 years in the major leagues. And the funniest thing is I think he still holds a record for the most passed balls as a catcher. And he was a backup catcher. And he'd use that joke all the time. And like one of the funniest things he ever said, they're like, I caught for Phil Micro and didn't take me long. The best way to catch a knuckleball is to pick it up after it stops rolling. Like he had so many funny lines. Like like I said, I watched his induction speech today, like, probably 10 times. And like, it's so worth your time. So if you need to be uplifted, this is the guide. His speech is incredible. How good it is.
I find it interesting, Struds, that you said you kind of wanted to try and be a little bit like him when you first started doing media stuff, because like you're unique, Struds. You're a little different, right? In terms of former athletes that get on air and start a career and all of this. Yeah. Like you do. You've always gone about it in a little bit of a different way. You've always tried a bunch of different things. You've never been afraid to be self-deprecating. I would say you've actually done not a bad job of adopting some of what he did. It makes sense to me when you say you took that approach a little bit, Brownie, and that will be the last nice thing I say to Struds this season on the show.
No, that was more than enough.
Yeah, that's plenty, and that's enough said. I got it. But it is true because he is his own approach, and I admired him. I admired him so much, and I remember it was the first time I saw Major. I'd never seen him before. I never knew who it was, and then I started following him. Right, and I would have loved to have met that guy, but never got a chance to. But from a distance, you go on YouTube, like there's tons of interviews with him and Johnny Carson, and he's so funny. Like today, I watched one today where he brought pictures to show Johnny, and Johnny. They show the picture. They put a picture and it's like him drinking beer and everyone's cheering around him. And they're like, he's like, what's this a picture of? He says, my teammates found I'm not playing today. But he says it without laughing. My teammates found out I wasn't playing today. It's just, and Johnny, everyone's dying. And he's just looking around like nothing. Like there's nothing. It's so funny. His face is so, just go in. I'm telling you, if you want to be uplifted, you have to watch this guy. It's so funny.
Love it. Zuby, anything from you on Uecker, or you?
Well, even the Miller Lite commercials are great. Really, just spend a little time on YouTube. The Miller Lite commercials are hilarious. And for me, actually, I was just going to say too, to me, he was one of those guys that I first saw him probably in Mr. Belvedere as a kid. And so to me, he wasn't a former baseball player. He was an actor. Right. He was sometimes former athletes stick out as being poor actors. To me, he was an actor. He was the funny dad on Mr. Belvedere. So I was a lot older before I found out, he was an athlete. He was a baseball player. Oh, no kidding. Like so he was a good enough actor and a funny enough guy that you didn't think of him even as being a former baseball player. He was that talented in that regard as well. Yeah. Very sad day.
And it's great you bring up the beer because at out of Milwaukee, there's a statue of him, and someone put a tall boy of Miller Lite or on the statue, and he would have loved that, right? He would have just, I thought he would have just loved it. He go see it. There's one beer can sitting, a full one, unopened, on his statue. I think he would have loved it.
Love it. Paid Shills, a new name that I'm seeing here on the stream, says Strudwick is indeed a unique personality. All of these guys are great. Cheer me up after a crap day. Sorry I had a crap day, Paid Shills, but we're glad that you're spending some time with us tonight and that we're cheering you up. Love it. Thanks for the feedback. That was Struddy's World, brought to you by DLR Vinyl Products. Zuby, Shaugger curveball coming at you right now, buddy. Little Shaugger curveball. Let's see if you can get through it without any mistakes. We are going to have Brownie along for the ride here on our Taking a Trip segment. We're going to do that, and then we're going to do Ask Us Anything to wrap up the segment, and then we'll let Brownie go. So if you have questions for Brownie, for Struds, fire them at Zuby on the YouTube stream here, and we'll get to those in just a couple of minutes. But first, let's get to Taking a Trip, brought to you by Alberta Blue Cross, right? With the trade deadline coming up, who's going to be taking a trip? Well, if you're planning a trip, whether it's a dream vacation, a quick winter escape, or a trip to watch the Oilers play, don't forget travel insurance. Alberta Blue Cross has your back with emergency medical care, cancellations, lost baggage, and more. Flexibility, reliability, even lounge access or a hotel if the delay is too much. The website is ab.bluecross.ca/travel to learn more. Struds, we're not sure what's going to happen on Long Island. We're not sure if there will be a sell-off or not, but if there is, a couple of interesting guys, and we're going to focus on one of them tonight.
Okay, I didn't mean to say this, but I got to say it. The Islanders got to face reality. They got to sell off. They got to change.
Yeah.
Right? It's not working. It's just not working there. So we went through Brock Nelson already, so we're going to go through Kyle Palmieri. Kyle Palmieri is a right shot forward who can score. Right, that's what he does. He scores goals. Even as recently as last year, he had 30 goals. I see him as a one-shot scorer, but he kills penalties. He kills some there on the island. He's also obviously on the power play, and I think he makes sense for someone. I don't know that right now I'm putting on my first line, even maybe a second line, maybe. But if you can get him on his third line with the right type of players, he's going to be add some depth scoring to your group for you. But he's 33. I should say he's 33. But I am convinced the Islanders have to face reality. It is time to offload. And if anyone will take Pierre Engvall, you literally put him on your back and carry him to whichever city wants Pierre Engvall, because that is one of the historic worst contracts in the history of sports.
You get him to buy some travel insurance from Alberta Blue Cross, and you put him on a plane, and you send him taking a trip, Struds. That's what you got to do. What were you going to say there, Brown?
That Engvall, he's one of the guys that every time I watch him play, I leave disappointed. Because the expectation, you look at him, he can skate, he's big, he looks like a hockey player, then he does nothing. I'm always disappointed watching him play. As for Palmieri, I've always liked him. Really, I've always liked him as a hockey player. He competes. And I think that's the biggest thing about him. He's a goal scorer that competes.
Can you imagine being the owner that watches Engvall play, knowing you have to pay him all that money for what you're watching him do? Never really think of that. Owners sitting there in their owners' boxes watching guys that they have paid so much money. And night in, night out, like a lot of owners have good relationships with GMs, but not always. So let's say the relationship is a little and as an owner, you're sitting there watching a player who at one point your GM was like, we got to get this guy, and here's why. And you're literally giving that guy $6 million of your money this year. And you're just looking at your GM and you're like, Like, we don't really think of it from the owner's perspective. No, what is he, 5?
He's $3 million times 7.
3, yeah, times 7. Yeah.
$21.
I was speaking more in generalities, but yeah.
No, I get you.
Million someone gave him.
If I was a GM and if I was the owner, my GM came and said, we got a great idea. We're going to re-sign this player. Which one? Pierre Engvall. Okay, yeah, a 1-year contract, 7 years. You're fired. That's it. They were doing that quick. That you're just out. You're out. I don't care how many Stanley Cups. You're fired. You're out. We're bringing the next person.
Struds,
I never liked them in Toronto. Never liked them there.
I played in the minors. We had a guy. His last name was I can't think of it right now. He's a big dude out of He's out of Winnipeg, but he had an 8-year contract. He got signed by Atlanta to an 8-year contract, then got traded to us in Chicago. But his 8-year contract was 1 year, and then the next 7 years were at the team's option. So I'm like, you didn't really get an 8-year contract. Yeah, I got an 8-year contract. No, you got a 1-year contract because every year it's their option.
Yeah.
He lasted 1 year, and then they said no more. But that was a smarter owner.
Took the option. Yeah, 100%. All right, we'll see if Kyle Palmieri is taking a trip as we hurtle towards the trade deadline. All right, Zuby, nice adjusting on the fly. Let's get to Ask Us Anything, buddy. And that's brought to you by BJ Electric Supplies, an Edmonton-based independent electric wholesaler offering a wide range of products from lighting and lighting controls and wiring accessories, control and hazardous products, serving electrical contractors working in Alberta's oil and gas, commercial, residential, and OEM sectors. Check them out at bjelectric.ca. Hop on in, Zuby. Over 700 on the live stream tonight, which we absolutely love. Can't wait to get to that 1,000 mark. I'm not sure at what point. I want to hit that during the regular season at some point, buddy.
I think it's going to happen. We were getting into that territory tonight. I said in the chat, I had my finger on the sound effect for the 1,000, but we didn't quite get close enough. But it's coming. Tell a friend. Well, one of these great post games, we'll get to it. Okay. CK Pond says, second period and third, loved the Oilers' cycle game, worked hard and it paid off. And that thought was continued by, I lost it, but somebody said also they thought the second period was maybe the best the best period that the Oilers have played all season. Struds, your thoughts?
Yeah, they did a pretty good job. There's no doubt on it. And they just kept with it, right? They didn't get rattled. I think we have to keep in mind, though, that they were missing Nikushkin, who is a big part of their team, really big part. And then Landeskog, it sounds like he's been skated this morning with the team. I don't know. He hasn't played for over 2 years. I have no idea what that looks like. But if they'll get Nikushkin back at some point. The other one, I'm not sure, the captain, and what he would look like if he did come back. So that's a pretty heavy team if they get those two guys back, Brownie.
It is. The one thing about the Oilers, they're the best second period team in the National Hockey League. So you got to give some credit to the coaching staff there. There's whether it's an adjustment or what he does that changes the flow of the game. But whatever happens in the first period, the Oilers always come out better in the second period. And I thought they were okay in the first, but the second and third period, like that texter said, they were excellent in this hockey game.
Bobo Fett saying, big Skinner save on a critical game moment when the PK broke down. That goes in. This game is gone, girl. Not only that, obviously it was a big moment in the game, but was that look like some kind of a set play? And Brownie, is that a set play? And did they spy something in the Oilers' power play to give that a shot on the ring around?
Yeah, it was a set play. You have to win the draw cleanly. They did. All power plays are overloaded to one side, and the Oilers is too. And it was a race, and they had a fast player. I think it was O'Connor that had the breakaway, and it was a race between him and Bouchard. Everything's got to work out perfect the way you rim the puck around, but O'Connor got it, and it was 2 saves by Skinner. The first one he saved, and then give O'Connor credit. He found the rebound and threw it back, and at first I thought he just kind of whiffed on, but Skinner made a save. He stretched out. That was a huge save, Struds, at a big moment, because a shorthanded goal is almost worth a goal and a half in a hockey game. That would have been the Oilers' power play was terrible tonight. And that would have been a huge, huge dagger to the Edmonton Oilers.
Lucky Skinner's a size 13, not a size 10, because he wasn't going to get that thing, right? Like that's how close it was, guys. And that was a humongous save. Really huge save. And Brownie, I said it earlier. I thought, there wasn't really, I don't remember there being a stoppage. They should have got the second unit out there because it wasn't going tonight. And that's not to punish them, but guys, no, it's not working. Let's just try something else here and mix it up a bit.
And they looked frustrated. I don't know if you saw it the one time Connor went off. He was really frustrated when he left the ice. And when their power play gets frustrated, they start getting more individual, and you could see them trying to come up through the neutral zone and beat guys. And that's exactly what Colorado or any team wants. So yeah, I've said it before. I would never change the power play unit, but I would give the second unit chances if the first one's not going.
Ross Dobson chiming in, now that there looks like there might be the makings of a really decent second line, can the haters of the nuclear option of 29, 97, and 18 stop complaining about seeing them together? We saw the second line tonight. Of course, that line was together for most of the game, so it was Nuge with Podkolzin and Arvidsson, right? Like now that's a completely different look second line without Dry on it, but it seemed pretty effective these last couple games. Struddy, does that change the dynamic of thinking about overloading that first line?
It gives you options and different looks. I think that every and not to get too far ahead, but every playoff series has a different challenge. right? Where is the team strength? What do they want to do? How do you want to approach this? Do you want to overpower one, with the big guys, or do you want to spread it out? So I just like that there's options, but I think we're starting to see the duo of Arvidsson and Paul Goldson. They really work well together. They like to make plays. They both go and get pucks. So whoever their center is getting the puck or spending quite a bit of time in offensive zone, which, Brownie, I'm not a center, but I'm guessing that's a good thing to have if you're a center.
It is. And I think you said it best, Struds. It gives them options, and an option that they know can be successful. Because right now, for the longest time, every time you put Connor, Leon, and Hyman together, you weren't getting any offense from your next three lines. So now they've got an option. So, okay, things aren't going right. We know this other line works. So in a playoff series, you want to have a lot of different looks, depending if you're on the road, who's starting a period, all kinds of things, what the other team has defensive-wise. If they have one good set of pairing of defensemen, do they have two good pairings? So all these things just gives Chris Knobloch more ammunition when we get into a 7-game series.
On Chris Knobloch, I'm surprised I haven't heard this comment before, but Obelus said, I'm surprised Knobloch isn't getting Coach of the Year love. I couldn't name another staff whose roster adjustments have more positive impact than the Oilers coaching staff. Is that a possibility? What does he have to do to get into that conversation, or will he always be hindered by the level of talent that's on the team, Brownie?
He'll be hindered by the fact he's got Connor and Leon and no one else does. Right now, if you're looking at a coach year, there's two different people that are going to be well ahead of Chris Knobloch. The coach in the Washington Capitals, that's a team that me personally, I don't have them even near the playoffs. And he's got them near the top of the National Hockey League. And the other one is Dean Evison in Columbus. Everything that Columbus has gone through before the season started with Johnny Gaudreau, with the injuries, and for them to be in the playoff race. Those are the two coaches that are going to be way higher than Chris Knobloch. The coaches that have really, really, really good players on the team sometimes get overlooked because they have really good players. But that doesn't take anything away, Struds, from what Knobloch has done. He knows everything he seems to do seems to work, and that's a sign of a good coach.
A half-drink Bud Light could coach this team. That's what people would say. That's what they're going to say.
Okay, I thought you were saying that. I'm like, what?
No, I'm not saying that, but that's what people say, right? And it's unfair. Also, no, I think the Wild coach could also get a chance at it.
Yeah. Yep. Good point.
Maybe even Jim Nill. I think LA is exceeding expectations by quite a bit. Okay, on last one, and then something fun at the end. But Paulie wants to know. He's, I believe, this was in reference to Noah Philp. How many games is the audition? He's nowhere near ready. Paulie's opinion: get a shot at next year, but they need a fourth line center that has impact. Your thoughts on that, Struddy, and how it's going to play out for Noah Philp here in the next little while?
Yeah, go ahead, Brownie. I kind of chimed in there a bit already on this.
I think you got to give him a fair look. I'd say 10 games. Take it to the Four Nations Cup. What you need is to have an idea of what he's capable of doing, because you don't know what you're capable of getting at the deadline. You might have, okay, this is what we want, but they want this much for him. Or we don't have the cash to do that, or we don't have the assets to do that. So you want to know what you've got completely in your cupboard before you start looking in other cupboards. So I would have him play all the way until the Four Nations Cup to see what he's capable of doing.
Okay.
All right.
Last one, something for fun here. I like people who know I like questions like this. To name some names, Paulie says, ask us anything, Struds, and obviously we'll get Brownie, you in on this too. But for Struds, who was the most underrated player you ever played with and the scariest player you ever played against? And he's going to guess, he says Ethan Morrow and Chris Simon, respectively. How close is Paulie on those?
Yeah, those are good. I think Al McGinley is the most underrated player. The guy was so good. He was just amazing. And then the scariest.
Who's that, Struds?
Al McGilney.
Oh, okay.
Alex McGilney, I guess.
Yeah.
We're
Sorry,
friends.
I just
Call each other Al.
Yeah. Okay.
And then the guy, the scariest. Wow, there's many scary people. Either they were super skilled or super tough for me. But I would say, that Derek Bouchard, that guy scared me because he could just toss me into a little corner and just beat the hell out of me. So yeah.
I would say for most underrated, I don't know if Ronnie Francis gets enough love. I think he's one of the best players in the history of the National Hockey League. If he's too big a star, then Stu Barnes would be the other one I would think. Very underrated hockey player that was very, very good. The scariest, mine would be different than Struds because tough guys didn't worry about me, so I didn't have to worry about tough guys. Dale Hunter. Dale Hunter was a guy that scared me because you didn't know what he was going to do. So every time you went on the ice, you were making sure you knew where Dale Hunter was. He wasn't very big, but he was not afraid. Well, just ask Pierre Turgeon. He was not afraid to drive you right through a wall if he could.
Love it. Great answers. That was Ask Us Anything, brought to you by BJ Electric Supplies. And thanks for all the great contributions and questions here on the stream tonight. All right, Brownie, thanks for putting in a little overtime with us, buddy. We'll check in after the Vancouver game. Gomez chimes in, a little parting gift. D-Zone was Brownie's scariest opponent. Well done, Gomez. Gomez with the mic drop as Brownie exits the show. Get out of here, Brownie.
Bye-bye.
We gonna let him treat? Are we gonna let Gomez treat our teammate like that, Struds? We gonna put up with that on the show?
When it's funny, it's worth it.
It's pretty good.
When it's funny, if we're good with it, yeah, that was pretty good. Brownie's just gone, just nothing but a gray square left.
Yeah.
Okay, as we go to break, time to take a look in the system with our good buddy Ryan Reed. That'll be brought to you by Long Shots Indoor Golf and Sports Bar. Their premium indoor facilities equipped with state-of-the-art TrackMan technology, perfect for golfers of all levels. Whether you're looking to eat, drink, or play, or just watch the game, Long Shot Sports Bar atmosphere, fully licensed kitchen and bar will not disappoint. Check them out in Sherwood Park or visit www.longshots.ca. Ryan Reed, take us in the system.
The Bakersfield Condors won in overtime 4-3 over the Colorado Eagles on Wednesday thanks to 2 James Hamblin goals. Hamblin now has 9 points in his last 6 games. Seth Griffith recorded the overtime winner, now has 13 points over his current 9-game point streak. Matthew Savoy is also on a hot streak and has 13 points in his last 10 games. Matvei Petrov exited Tuesday's game early due to an injury and did not play in Wednesday's showdown. The Condors sit 8th in the Pacific Division and will play the Chicago Wolves on Saturday. In London, Sam O'Reilly has continued his hot streak as of late and has 4 goals and 4 assists over his last 5 games. In Barrie, it is more of the same as 2024 6th-round pick Dallin Wakely has 6 goals and 14 points over his last 10 games. Teammate Bowiecki has struggled since coming back from the World Juniors and has just 1 assist over his last 3 OHL games. 2021 6th-round pick Shane Lachance is above the point-per-game threshold and has 20 points in 19 games while captaining Boston University in the NCAA. Samuel Janssen has kept up his great play and posted a 14-1-0 record on the season with a .932 save percentage over in Sweden. I'm Ryan Reed, and that's what's happening in the system.
Thinking of that dream vacation? A quick winter escape? Well, flight delays are dreadful. Hospital visits, not fun. Alberta Blue Cross gives you coverage for emergency medical care, cancellations, and lost baggage. Flexibility, reliability, even lounge access or a hotel if the delay is too much. Plus 24/7 travel support ensures you're never left out in the cold. Visit ab.bluecross.ca/travel to learn more.
Specializing in heavy-duty commercial truck powertrain repair, performance, tuning, and part sales, Adrenaline Diesel's professional team is ready to assist you with all of your needs, from the simplest oil changes to engine conversions, overhauls, and engine modifications. Featuring an all-new online parts store and machine shop to manufacture, replicate, or repair parts, visit adrenalinediesel.ca.
All right, time now for our Core Blue Liners segment, brought to you by HSE Core Services. If you are a small to medium-sized business, HSE Core has your back when it comes to health and safety compliance. From creating and managing a tailored health and safety program meeting all legislative and core requirements, HSE Core supports clients' operations every step of the way. Check them out online, hsecore.com. That's HSECOR.com for more information. Struds, our core blue liner segment tonight, we focus on a small, speedy Avalanche defender.
Yeah, really speedy. Samuel Girard, and he's been around now for a while. He was part of that. I think he was part of that Matt Duchene trade. That was a steal for the Avs. But he came over from Nashville. Small, speedy, smart, really short stick. But all that being said, he's not a horrendous defender. Like, he's not horrendous. He's not a bad defender, even though he has those issues. I think in the heavier games, things got a little tough. I remember it was a few years ago when they were in the playoffs before they won the cup, and he was back there and he was pushed out of the crease lots of times, and just the size is a real challenge for him. But moves the puck quick, gets up the ice, makes plays, skilled, all those types of things you want to see. But I don't believe that he can be in your top 4D to have success just because of the size.
Yeah.
He's just too small a player. And when they won the cup, he wasn't in that. I think actually he was even hurt for a lot of that stretch. So, but a nice little player, moves the puck well in transitions, and they're trying to play fast there in Colorado. And he does. He plays really fast.
Yeah, no, I definitely like his mobility, and I don't mind his compete levels, Struds. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think he's a guy that will just go quietly and get shoved out of games. Maybe similar in some way. Like, Stetcher's kind of like that too. There's a scrappiness that comes with some of these small guys sometimes, and Girard has some of that, which I respect in small skill guys that bring that as well. I like that. That guy can play on my team and fight for a spot in my lineup when he's a smaller guy.
But the problem is he's not fighting for a spot. He's a $5 million D-man, right? Let's say that the Oilers go into a series with him. Is that a player you mind leaning on Connor or Leon or Podkolzin or, on and on and on like that? Because those players are also skilled. It's just that they're a lot bigger. So I'm sorry, I can't remember which series it was, but I think it was when he and Ryan Graves were together, and they really had a tough time. Now, he was younger then. I get it. But when there's big skill players against small skilled players, it's, who's going to win that every time. So it's a challenge right now. He is in their top 4. And I don't know if they're going to go out and try to get someone. They can jump up a bit more, but and play a little higher in the lineup. But that to me is a challenge. That'd be a challenge for them in a playoff series.
Remind you of anyone you played with or against, or any comparables out there for you?
You know what? Greg Hoggood was a little bit like that. Smaller player, but really smart, good shot, like good stick. Like I had him as a partner a bit in Vancouver. I really liked playing with him. Because it was they have to be so smart because they're not as big. So they have to really get around the ice well. So really, really smart player. And so is Sammy Girard.
Yeah. Boba Fett says Vegas abused Colorado's young small D. Next year, Avs added Manson and more meat to give them a cup level D. And Noel Rinsky suggests Marc-Andre Bergeron. That's not a bad comparable either. Smaller guy.
Yeah, fair point.
A little bit of skill there. Bergeron had a pretty good bomb from what I remember too. I thought he
hard shot
pretty well for a young guy.
I don't think he moved as well as Girard did. But that's also probably 10-15 years ago, so things have changed a bit.
Okay, more drama in Vancouver. JT Miller, Rick Tocchet happened tonight, I think, while we were on the air, so we'll do our best to sort of pick the little pieces that we can off of Twitter, but time to dig into that and take a couple of laps. Brought to you by Acon. If you're a skilled tradesperson or construction professional looking for work in Western Canada, Acon wants to hear from you. They're looking for skilled tradespeople and construction professionals to join the Acon team and start building what matters today. Join Acon now by sending your resume to trades@acon.com. That is trades@acon.com. You can also go on their website and click join our team to see all the jobs that they have available. Okay, Struds, we're going to be a little bit careful because there's some post-game quotes floating around about Rick Tocchet, but I've only seen them in one place, so I like to sort of, double check things a little bit here. But bottom line, there was video that surfaced on the broadcast of Tocchet and Miller having an exchange. Tough night in Vancouver tonight. Miller gets up and walks down to the end of the bench. A couple of clips as well where it looks like his effort is a little bit suspect. and it just feels like the temperature got ratcheted up a little bit more here.
Well, when you're 2-5-3 in your last 10 games, I think the temperature is going to go up, and I think they're 12 or 13 points now behind the Oilers and Vegas. So they're falling off, and they're now mixed in with the likes of the Flames, the Blues. The Avalanche are probably pulling away from them. So there's kind of three teams there fighting for a playoff spot. Now that can change, but that's where they're at right now. So yeah, there's a clip of a goals being scored by Turcotte where it looks like he doesn't have the hardest effort. And so it's difficult to understand exactly what happened when you're not there and you're not present. But it just seems like this continues to get away from Vancouver and the way that they want to play and the things they want to accomplish. And it's a real challenge. I keep saying it, Shaugger. I can't imagine them trading one of these two big guys mid-season and getting full value back. Like it feels like you're getting, 50, 60, 70 cents on the dollar.
Yeah. Multiple reporters now putting this quote out, so I'll read it to you, Struds, and you can comment on this. Talking on Miller, quote, "He's struggling. He's caught in between. It seems like every time he's on the ice, something bad happens. Oof. I think he's got some bad luck, but he's also got some reads that he's got to look at himself right now and focus on some of these reads. Seems like every time he's on the ice, something bad happens." That's
a tough one. But Rick Talk is very honest, right? And he'd probably say the same thing too. And he was on for a couple of goals against. And you just think of the heights that JT Miller was playing at, or the level in the playoffs last year, and kind of where it's at now. It's not the same player, and they need this guy going. They need him for sure. Then he was, I believe, the second lowest 5-on-5 by any forward with the Canucks, which is surprising when you look at the player and the contract and all that stuff. So, who knows what was said when Talkett walked down? Hey man, are you all right? Is he checking in on him? Did he give him a kick in the ass to get going? We'll never know. But it's just, this situation doesn't seem to be improving, Shaugger.
Yeah. Tough stuff. All right, we got another lap to take here, buddy.
Yeah. Just Seth Jones in Chicago. We know it's not going well. Not to the expected greatness, but I don't think there's been a step forward. And according to our good buddy Darren Dreger, there's been some calls to their general manager Davidson about the availability of Seth Jones. Now, Seth is a big right shot defenseman. He's signed for many years still. Where do you go with this player? Do you open it up, because he's got a full no movement clause? So do you open him and say, but there might be an option here for you to be moved out? Because, how many years until this team is better? Tough year this year, next year, probably a little bit better. You have to have a little bit better. So probably 3 years, maybe. And that's this is year 2 for Bedard. So year 4, 5, when this team really starts going up, maybe. So does he want to be around when that happens? That's a bit of but maybe Brianna Bedard's exciting, and maybe another high pick is exciting as well.
Feels to me like Jones signed that deal, right? And remember, that was kind of a market-setting deal. That was when things went crazy. That's what set the market for Darnell Nurse. That was Bowman, I believe. But he signed under a set of circumstances where the team was going, the direction, all that kind of stuff. And then I think it changed within a year or so of him signing, didn't it, Struds?
Right.
The direction of the team, and it's kind of turned into a bit of a, and it's like he was just never the player. Never the same player after that, really struggled. I wonder, there's such a nice frame there. Big, skates well, obviously has skill, high draft pick, good pedigree. Dump him into a truly competitive situation, and I wonder, but that's a lot of money, and he hasn't been playing great the last few years.
And he probably loves Chicago. It's a great city, right? So you do want to go somewhere else. So it's really hard to know, right? This feels like, and again, I'm not putting words in Dreger's, but it seems like it's very preliminary, but there is interest out there for a player. And I get it. You just want to check in. Yeah,
100%. All right, that was Taking a Lap, brought to you by Acon. We saved the scoreboard till late in the evening, Struds, because there was lots of action. Scoreboard, those brought to you by Canadian Club. The all-new CC Classic 18-year-old high proof comes in at 58%, their highest proof CC Classic to date. Full-bodied whiskey with aromas of caramel, toffee, spicy vanilla, and a rich oak with a butter scotch finish. Many games to go through, Struds, but what mattered to the Oilers tonight?
Well, 13 games in total, 2 last night, so a bit lopsided. Kings beat the Canucks 5-1. This was a beatdown on every level. Turcotte had 2 goals and an assist tonight in a winning cause for the Kings, and the Canucks continue to search. The Blues beat the Flames 4-1 in St. Louis. Braden Shen has 2 goals, and Dylan Holloway had 2 assists, so he continues to pile up the points. Outside of that, we know the Oilers already beat the Avs. The Jets beat the Kraken for another Pacific Division battle. And other than that, there was, an interesting one that I think for me was very notable, was that the Leafs came back and beat the Devils 4-3 in overtime. No
Tavares, yeah.
No Tavares, and Sheldon Keefe coming back for the first time as the Devils coach after being in that organization for 9 seasons with the Leafs.
He had a good comment post-game, actually. He said, too bad I left a point behind, but I probably owed the Leafs a point somewhere along the way. Or he made something along those lines, like I might have owed the organization that one. So he sort of made a passing joke about leaving a point on the table. But he's doing a good job out there, man. I was reading some articles here over the last couple of days, some complimentary things being said about him and the way he's handling things. And I can't help but wonder if, a change of scenery and a second opportunity. We always talk about players getting another look with a different organization. Coaches, if they're smart, improve through their losses and their firings too, Struds. And there was barely any time in between for him, but maybe he showed up, changed, and a little bit better.
Yeah, and I think that a little bit of time would have been healthy for him, but I get it. I mean, the Devils a pretty nice landing spot. So my guess, if I was him, I would have tried to get my team to play more like how you win in the playoffs right from the get-go.
Yep.
Right. And he valued puck possession. I get that. I do as well. But puck possession doesn't mean you can never dump it in, right? Or you can never chip it by the D-man to get in the zone or to get it out. And that's, I believe, the difference of what they had was they valued that more high risk play. And that becomes, if it's going good, it's great. If it's not going well, you never win a playoff round except for one in 5 years as a coach, I think.
Yeah, fair point. All right, that was our scoreboard brought to you by Canadian Club. I think all we got left here, Zuby, you got to wrap up the poll before we get to our play of the day.
Yep, let's do it.
Do it. Have at her.
All right, here we are. The poll question tonight was, which Western opponent would you most like to watch the Oilers play 7 games against this spring? And Colorado did win it, but man, it was close. So we had over 500 votes tonight. Colorado had 36% of the vote. Vegas, 34% of the vote. So very close. Yeah. Winnipeg, 20%, and the write-in votes, 8%. There was, like I said, lots of Vancouver, Dallas. There was some tongue-in-cheek people saying they were hoping maybe we get to see that the Oilers get to play San Jose in the first round. That was a write-in vote. And a few people saying they'd rather not see 7-game series at all for the Oilers. So maybe 4s, 5s, and 6s on their way to a title. But yeah, the Colorado and Vegas, top of the heap.
Good stuff. Okay, that'll wrap it up. So let's wrap up with our play of the day, brought to you by Gallery Dental. So they offer a full range of services to keep your smile healthy. Their experienced team providing personalized care with the latest technology to ensure you get the best treatment possible. Check them out online. GalleryDentalYEG.com is the website to check out. Struds, what do we got tonight for a play of the night, my friend?
Montreal Canadiens. They get extended point streak to 6 games, right? They beat Dallas 3-1 tonight. And their youngish goaltender, Jakob Dobis, gets a win. So pretty incredible. They got down 1-0. They roll back, get 3 goals, and points in 6 games straight for this team. They're fighting, man. They're fighting for a playoff spot.
They're fighting something fierce. Them and the Detroit Red Wings, hey?
Yeah, and 1 point behind Boston, I believe. 1 point behind Boston with 2 games at hand. Hey-o.
Yeah, they're right in there with Ottawa, 8-1-1 in their last 10 games. Detroit's 8-2-0. Like they are scrapping. There's going to be some great finishes out in the Eastern Conference. All right, my friend. That was a great game, man. That was like, I feel drained after this pod because it was like there was so much to talk about and so much to get to. It was an exciting game. That was a fun one tonight, buddy.
Really enjoyed it. Yeah, great. Oilers are playing really well, man. Playing really well.
Zuby, the live audience was engaged tonight, my friend.
They were, and good takes and good fun. And we'll have we got Canucks on Saturday, right? So it's always feisty in the stream. We'll have Matt Blom in there trying to keep the two sides sides apart. But Saturday will be fun too. Yeah, great stream, amazing number, and 600 people stuck through here with us right to the end. So that's pretty cool.
Starting over at 61 says great show, guys. See you Saturday night after a Canuck pounding.
Oof.
We shall see. Great game, great pod, fellas, says Chairman Ma. We'll leave you on that. Thanks so much for tuning in. We had a great number on the live stream. Thanks for your downloads and your subscriptions. Hit the like button on the way out. Quick. Hit it quick on the way out. Do us that solid. And we'll talk Saturday night after the game. See you, everybody.
Blow up my candle now.